Welcome one and all to another live stream of us at the Hard Rock Show. We are back after a week off, so thank you all for your patience. It's good to be here, and hopefully you enjoy the show tonight. We have Dave opposite me on the screen there, so say hello to Dave. We have Belle opposite corner to me, and we have Jeff underneath me on the screen as well. And while we're doing the rounds, Jody in the background says hello to everyone watching as well. Jody. Michael's here. Good evening, everyone. Get in the comments, say hi, folks. Let us know you're here, and we'll start getting through this one. So we've got a lot to get through tonight. This is going to be a big show to make up for lost time last week. So later on, we have the battle, which is between Rammstein, Untitled versus Deep Purple, Perfect Strangers. I'll have the backyard banger this week, which is Living Through Mirrors with their debut, Everlasting. We're going to go through our building a collection of 1985, and this week we're going through the month of February. Jeff has got the game tonight with something different. We got a new segment coming up, which we're tentatively calling Border Buster. No one else has given me a better idea yet, so I'm sort of running with that at the moment until something else comes up. But that's going to be Frantic, Amber with Death Becomes Her. If you're watching on anything other than Facebook, you'll have links in the description for this one. For Facebook, there were way too many links and wouldn't let me do it, so just pay attention to the comments as we go through things. If you missed them, then I apologize in advance. What else have we got here? Oh, yeah, question of the day today is over the years of the Hard Rock Show, this is a random one, but over the years of the Hard Rock Show, what have you found that's impressed you the most? What's a band that you have found and fallen in love with courtesy of doing the Hard Rock Show, either watching, being a part of it, whatever else have you? So yeah, just think about that for a minute, and there's probably a lot for some of you out there, but maybe just one or two. But yeah, see what comes to mind. What's the biggest one that's impacted you since you've been tuning into us here? That's what we're going to get stuck into a lot of things there, but I did say we got a lot to get through, so let's just get stuck in. So make sure you get in the comments and say hi, folks. We're going to get through 2 rounds of Hot Rocks this week as we go along. We're going to try and keep these ones a little bit quicker just because we do have a lot to get through. So we did miss the last week. So the results of last week would have been coming in at number 10 was Catatonia with Lilac. Number 9 was Ryoji Shinomoto with Living Dead Beat. Number 8 was Teramaze with Gloom. Number 7 was The Fortune Teller. Then we had a couple of repeats in there. So number 6 was Volbeat with In the Barn of the Goat. I'm not going to go through the rest of the title. Number 5 was Vigil Hunter with Disconnected. These are both reruns. So Volbeat was in its 3rd week. It was number 6 the week before. Then it got to number 6 again. Vigil Hunter was 3rd last week. It's in its 3rd week, was number 5 last week. Still in the same spot here. Then number 4 was a new one. Number 3 was not. Number 3 was Fading Out with Out of Nowhere. That's in its 3rd week on this one. And then Those Damn Crows with Still was in number 2. So there we go. Which meant number 1 was a new one as well. So we're going to go through as we do and announce the new additions as we do things. I did tease one before, though, which means we're going to throw to Jeff in a moment because the first news song we're talking about, this is from last week's Hot Rocks and Tastemakers results. This is what we do when we do our Patreon voting and stuff. So if you want to get involved, check out our Patreon page. The links are in the description for everything you need to know. But HZed released a track called You Know live at Singing Bird Studios. There is a link in the comments and the description box for this one. This is the first of 3 tracks recorded by the Melbourne band at Singing Bird Studios in Frankston. This is the band reimagining these already released tracks with their new vocalist, Tanea Mills. Hopefully I got that right. We did a backyard banger on the old lineup last year, which we really enjoyed. This is our first taste of this new vocalist. So I nominated it. It made it to number 4. It was assigned to Jeff. So let's throw to Jeff for this one. How did you go?
Yeah, this is, well, first of all, live at Singing Bird, that kind of threw me because I was expecting it to sound live, and it doesn't. And so I don't know if it is recorded live and they just took out the audience or what, but or maybe they're playing to an empty room. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's it. But look, I really like this song. I thought it had a real sultry feel to it. There was a real a sexiness to it, and that does nothing to do with the vocalist. It was just it had that like I could imagine. I'm sorry if I'm going to offend anyone here, but I could imagine this song being played at a strip bar with a stripper on a pole. Seriously, that's what I got in my head.
Burlesque show, maybe something like that. There's a bit of
look, I worked at a strip club, so maybe that was something that So maybe it was just bringing back memories. I did. It was a good show, but it was a bouncer. Some of the best times. Tell you what, I never had my ass handed to me so many times by strippers playing pool that I did there. And
wow!
all they do when they're not playing, when they're not dancing, they're playing pool. Holy shit, they're good. They can.
Wow.
Anyway, that's another story. I really liked this song. I felt it had there was a rawness to it, and it was like it felt alive. And I can almost picture like the band playing it, or it was just something about. And I don't think I've ever heard them before. And maybe I have. You guys said
the new vocalist would throw you off. Yeah,
maybe that's it. Because it was just like it sounded fresh to me. It sounded live, even though I know it doesn't sound live. If that makes sense, it just sounded like a band in a room playing. And I really quite liked it. Like I said, it had this sultry sexiness to it that I enjoyed. It's so all the musicians, obviously, you can say the yada yada. Everyone's playing to, they all sound great. The vocalist is very, very good, and she's got to actually. Has she been in another band or something? Because she sounded very.
I'm not sure. I think this is the first time I've heard of her anyway. So yeah, I'm not sure about her background.
Right. Well, she had something. There was something about her timbre. I don't know. There was something there very similar. It reminded me of something. But anyway, regardless, I'm waffling. I like this a lot, so I'm going to give it 8 shots.
Nice. Cool. Well, that's a good start. Let's do the thumbs up, thumbs down, do the rounds. Where are we going with this one? I got thumbs up for me. I enjoy this one. There we go. We all give this one some love. So nice job all round. Quick check in the comments. Kat's here saying, hey, everyone. Good to see you, Kat.
Hey,
Kat. Same with Jolie. Hi, all. Good to see you. Victoria's here. Happy Thursday, all. Good to see you as
Hello,
well.
Victoria.
Guru is here. Good to see you. Good to see you as always, mate. Michael is here. Hey, all.
Hey.
Darren's gone on. I'd seen you somewhere, Jeff. The strip club. So there we go.
Here we go.
And Jolie said, loved that song. Brilliant. Very, very sexy. Yes, Jeff. So there we go.
Yeah,
some
there we go.
Positive feedback on that one.
I'm not alone.
No, you're not alone. It's all good. I did sort of tweak the order for some reason, but I'm just going to go back to what we were meant to do anyway. We're going to go to the next song now, which is Dave. You're up next. We're going to go with Fortune Teller and their track, The Fortune Teller, but that's something different there. This is the second single, though, from the UK-based band and was released in conjunction with some tour dates. Aside from that, I don't have a lot more information about this one. Except to say it was nominated by Ula, made it to number 7 this week because the other songs above it, apart from 4 and whatever, were all sort of done last show. So we always go with the new ones here. So got to number 7. It's getting the treatment. And Dave, like I said, it's over to you.
Yeah, when I saw the title of the song, I immediately thought, is this the Rolling Stones cover that they did many, many years ago? And no, it's got absolutely nothing to do with that. So if you're old like me, you'll be disappointed. This is grand and dramatic. It's a bit of a modern take on power metal, taking the modern edge, the heaviness and the guitar riffs and the tone, plus some production is pretty modern as well. Music is well composed and the vocals are good. I'm not keen on the lyrics. It's a pretty straightforward story. It's fantasy based and it's not like too bizarre or goes off in a quirky philosophical shit. It's pretty straightforward, but it's still not something I can really relate to. So lyrics kind of let me down. Everything else was pretty cool. Synth parts were good. They were used sparingly. Added an extra element to the end of the verse, like post-verse, pre-chorus type thing. They came in a little bit. I know, is there such a thing as a post-verse, pre-chorus?
Maybe. Pre-chorus,
I'm making up fucking parts now. There's no solo, but there's an instrumental section, which was pretty cool, and some harmonized guitar lines. It's a bit frustrating and confusing for me in a way. In some ways, it's very unique because of how they're approaching this, which is cool. But for my taste, there's parts that are disappointing because I'm expecting that solo to come in after the harmonized parts. But if they tweak those parts, they'd just be like everything else in this genre. So they're doing something unique, but they're not giving me what I want. So it's frustrating. With different lyrics, I'd probably love this, but yeah, the lyrics just kind of let me down. But I'll give this a 7 overall. It's pretty cool.
Okay. Nice. All right. So again, doing the rounds, thumbs up, thumbs down. How are we going with this one? I'm going to give this I liked it. It was good enough for me. Bell? No, in the middle ground. All right, Bell is in the middle ground. There we go. Here we go. Vinny says, evening gang, great to see you all back. To answer your question of the night, in my time watching the Hard Rock Show, Those Damn Crows has had me up and about like Camilla Parker Bowles munching on a beef eater. So there we go. Vinny to bring the goods, mate. Well done. There we go. Guru says, I do remember and like Fortune Teller with the Stones. This new stuff, not for me. Sorry, P.S. Old enough to buy a beer. Well, we all are. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a win. All right, let's go to the next one then, because I have a funny feeling on the back of Vinny's comment here. This one might go a bit better. So in the comments and the description box, as always, you're going to find a reference track to Those Damn Crows with Still. Belle, you're up next in a moment. This is one of about a half dozen singles to come from the Welsh band's fourth studio album. Now, for those with long memories, you'll know that the song Let's Go Psycho went absolutely bonkers last year, was in the fucking chart for like 6 months. And I don't know. It was just, I don't know. It'll be a record that I don't know if it'll ever be broken. For those behind the scenes, you'll have seen Jeff and me do a review on this album. But Vinny nominated this song in particular, came in at number 2 last week, was assigned to Belle. So all that said, over to you.
Well, I do love an acoustic ballad. And so this song already, once I realize it doesn't take long to realize it's an acoustic ballad, or at least starts that way. It's going to start up here for me, like up here, and then it can either stay up there or go down depending on where they go with it, execution and the like. But they did not fail, the Crows. Can we call them that? The Crows? Or was that Adelaide?
Yeah, why not?
Football team. I know Vinny's a Bombers fan. He probably doesn't want me to call them the Crows. So Those Damn Crows is just like, such a mouthful. But anyway.
Psycho. Yep.
What can I say about the song? It's simple, it's heartfelt, it's happy, it's sad, it's beautifully written and performed. It has a bit of a build with the inclusion of strings kind of in the later part. But that's all it needed. It didn't need the whole band to come in. Like, it just wasn't that song. And I'm glad they didn't go there. The lyrics definitely touched me. I felt them, and they actually brought me to tears today.
Wow.
I just really it just I really enjoyed them. He wasn't just singing a song, he was telling me how he was feeling, and I think that's how it came across to me. So that's why it touched me, I guess. Nice. There's a massive difference between the two. Anyway, I love this song. Thank you, Vinny, for putting it forward. I loved it. I'll give it 9 shots.
Nice. All right, well, do the rounds. Thumbs up, thumbs down, folks. There's 2 from me. I fucking adored this. This is fantastic. So, there we go. Love all round for that one, which is more of the same. And there's another one coming up, so get ready. But before we get to this current week, we're going to finish off last week with another song, which is Ghost with Lachryma. This is the second single released from the 6th studio album from the band Ghost. The Swedish band have been impressing us, especially Dave and myself, for quite some time. It's safe to say this has gotten some love via the votes, as well as after it was nominated by Joel, it took number 1 spot last week. As such, it was assigned to me, so I got the joyous part of listening to this one and getting my thoughts into it. I'm a very big fan of this band. I think everyone knows that by now. I finally got around to giving the album a more proper spin today. And so before, when I wrote my notes for this one, the singles are the ones I knew the most. But in a funny way, listening to the album today has kind of reinforced my opinion of this song. Following on from Satanized, the previous single, that was a bit more of a grower for me, whereas this one has a hook and a riff that just grabbed me from the get. It just straight away I was in on it. This has that absolute trademark groove, rhythm, pulse, and sound that is all Ghost. This band, they've really honed their craft over the last few albums in particular now. They've really locked in on that sound, and they stand out for all the right reasons for me. Same for the solo. That sound and style is all Ghost. You do know when you hear that sound come on like that, when you hear that guitar tone, that solo sound, you know straight away. And I love how this song snaps, but also has sort of grit and polish in equal measure. I love everything about it, just the way it has this pulse to it. There's something also about this one lyrically for me that will speak to a great many people, regardless of if you're a fan or not. There's one person here tonight that I'm curious to see their response to it. But for me, I think it's a song that lyrically it will be one of those ones that is a bit of a gateway possibly to the band. But this has all the classic influences that make this band timeless and a true chameleon of the eras. Like, even though they're sort of playing on the going back in time and doing things, it always feels and sounds timeless when you listen to it. It could be from today, or it could be from the 60s and 70s, and it would sound just as good or just as relevant or time stamped either way. Really, really hard to get that right, and they nailed it. Harmonies are great. The key change is mint on this one. This whole thing is one hell of a catchy hard rock song that is both melancholic and uplifting at the same time. Cool video as well, for that matter. But this, to me, has great emotive tone to it, and one that matches the musical tone and the video, like I said, really cool to it. This whole thing just packs a punch in one little song. It's one of those ones that stays with you long after the final note rings out. It's both beautiful and dark, riveting and emotive. It's also a perfect song. It's a perfect breakup song in a traditional sense of the word, but there's so much more going on underneath that there's something about it. It's infectious. It's got light and fun in it too. It's one of those layered gems that these days Ghost are one of, if not the best at giving us as music fans. One of a kind band to me. They're just taking over the world as far as I'm concerned. Just listen. I think this song is fantastic, and I think it's a gem, a real highlight on the album overall as just a standalone single too. So 10 shots for me. I fucking loved it. I think this is a beast of a track. So we'll see how it went with everyone else. Do the rounds. Thumbs up, thumbs down, people. How'd you go with this one?
Double horns up. 10 shots. Song of the fucking year. I love it.
Okay. Bell, any feedback? Didn't win Bell over.
Wow.
That's all right. I wasn't expecting it to. I figured it'd go that way. Jolie says 10 shots for Still, the solo, the country free, emotional, had me in tears too, Bell. So there you go, back to those damn crows for a second there. Jolie said, yeah, the lyrics definitely got to me. She's gone crowed, meant crows. Everyone's laughing. So, but 10 for Jolie on Ghost, I believe, too, in the comments there as we go through things. All right, let's move over to let's move over to round two, because these are where we update things that are in Hot Rocks and Tastemakers as you go through them on the Spotify account now. So the new songs in Tastemakers this week are Archer's Gate with Love Song to Myself, The Dead Daisies with Boom Boom, Fading Hour, Leave It All Behind, Gals Veer with Time and Timeless Timeline, Harum Scarum with Chasing Euphoria, Leverage with Shooting Star, Primal Fear with Far Away, Temple with What You Are, Those Damn Crows with Dancing with the Enemy, and Voyager with Seen Better Days. Those are the 10 tracks in there. So as we go through the results of this ones, the mentions that didn't make the final cut this time around were Still was number 1 or number 2 last week, and didn't quite make the list this time around. And Vigil Hunter fell out as well this time around. Number 10 was The Witching Hour with Dead Inside, as nominated by Vinny. Number 9 was the Volbeat track in the Barn of the Goat. Number 8, Fading Out of Nowhere. So these ones done before. Number 7, though, was The Violent Hour, a new one with Sick Ones from Michael. Nice nomination there. Number 6 was Broken Love 2020 Vision, as nominated by Bell. Just missed out Bell, not by much. Number 5 was Ghost with Lachryma, which brings us to the top 4, which means I'm going to go through the notes now and start handballing off to people. So number 4 is the new one. We'll hang on quickly. Comments here. Vinny says, Still is beautiful, although my eyes were welled up after watching Essendon on Anzac Day, then being kicked in the nuts watching Andrew's autumn montage on Instagram, which includes pausing on an extra second longer on the final score. You're welcome, Vinny. He's gone thumbs up. And Vinny says, Peaceland is beginning to rival Lachryma. Okay, cool. There's a lot of love going on for that album.
Everyone's loving that song, and it's probably my least favorite song on the album.
Wow. All right. I'm looking forward to next week on the back of that. That's going to be an interesting sort of take on things. I'm curious about next week. All righty. Next song, though, in the comments and description box and all the usual stuff, you're going to find a link to Cassidy Paris with Butterfly. This is the latest single from the Melbourne artist who impressed with her debut album, New Sensation, a couple of years back. Not sure if this is a sign of more to come, but going in the past, she's always been busy, so I do expect more just knowing what she's like. But this week, the song made it to number 4. Was assigned to Jeff. So over to you again.
Yeah. All right. Look, I like Cassidy Paris a lot. I think the stuff that she's done in the past has been really good. And I like this song, but I feel that this song, it feels a little bit underbaked for me. It doesn't feel like it's been spent enough time in the oven. It's good. The melodies are all there, everything, but there's just something about it. It's lacking in production or something. There's something missing. Maybe I'm just delusional, Well, that would be not the first time I've been called myself delusional. But
you used to work in a strip club, mate. Obviously,
I was a bouncer. Yes, but it was a good job. But anyway, the point is, this song it's really good, and I listened to it many, many times. I think the music is something I don't know. I just can't put my finger on it. It's just something not quite right. It wasn't mixed right or something, and it doesn't feel. It feels kind of like, well, I hate to say this, but it feels almost like a karaoke song. I just it didn't come across again. And I like her. It's a shame because I really like her music. Yeah. And I've been on the record saying that she's brilliant. And so this song just did not grab me. So I'm sorry, but I'm only going to give it 6. The song itself is good, but it just doesn't feel like it's not. There's something there. Okay. Anyway, 6 shots from me for that.
Okay. Well, let's do the rounds quickly. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I liked it. It was giving me bells in the middle ground. Just I found it to be a bit more angry than usual for her, which I like that sort of side of her. But I don't know. We'll see what happens as the rest of the year goes on with her work. All right, cool. Next up, link in description as always is coming up in the comments now. You got a track for A to Z with Nothing Is Over. This one comes from the band's sophomore album A to Z 2 on June the 6th, I think it is, 2025. This band is made up of members from Redemption, Steve Vai, DGM, Alcatraz, and more. This is our first taste from this band. I don't think I've ever heard of them until now, to be honest, and it made it to number 3 this week. Jolie put it forward. Belle was assigned to you, so take it away.
All right, well, I'm going to start off with a negative. Sorry. Okay.
Here we go.
I know that Dave has mentioned this a couple of times before, and I absolutely agree with him. That being, I hate it when bands don't put anything at all in their Spotify bio.
Yeah.
Yes.
Painful.
If I'm listening to your music, I want to know about you. Like I want that there. I'm on Spotify, obviously listening, and I just want to go in. I don't want your life story. I don't want your life story. I don't need pages and pages. I just want to know, I don't know, what you're about. Maybe where you're from. Just, just
where you're from.
Basic stats. Yeah. So already I was like, okay, all right, I'll just let the music speak for itself. So, but it was I get it. The music was really good. Like the song was really good. Had a bunch of things that I like. Great vocals, interesting and highly skilled guitar work, melodic, bit proggy, organ, all good things.
Yeah.
I got a real throwback to the 90s with this one. And I don't mean grunge or alt rock, which was thriving. I mean the bands that started in the 80s and were hanging in there through the 90s, still doing what they do, putting out stuff that I thought was better than, all the stuff that was popular at the time.
Yeah.
That we're all brainwashed to like. But yeah, this song was a grower. Well, they were there. We just didn't hear a lot about them. And now it's like going back and like, oh, wow. Bands are still putting this shit out there.
Spotify and YouTube has exposed us to so much stuff to go overlook.
Amazing, yeah. So, yeah. More I heard this song, the more I liked it, the more I appreciated it. And I wouldn't be averse to listening to more from this band. It sounds to me, because I, didn't know anything about them, and Andrew, you've done some digging, which I didn't. Like
this week was tricky. There's a few bands in tonight's broadcast. Like, fucking hell.
Oh, right. Sound like not a super group, but certainly they've formed
something of a super group. Yeah.
Yeah, out of kind of their leftovers from other bands, or like, okay, that sounds terrible. That's not. I didn't mean
strip clubs, leftovers. We're on a
hey,
Dave Mustaine's just a leftover from Metallica.
Scraps.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
A load have got a special edition coming out, Dave. So
I saw that.
Yeah. Sorry, Bill, we're hijacking you.
No, it's okay. I'm just gonna give it 8 shots.
Yeah.
It was good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Cool. Do the rounds. Thumbs up, thumbs down. How'd we go with this one? I liked it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. All around. Cool. getting some love. Let's see what the audience is saying out there. Vinny said thumbs up for Cassidy Paris, which is cool. Conrad's here. Good to see you, man. Hi, guys. Hopefully you're keeping well out there too. Vinny said, yes, Bell. Glad you mentioned that. Yeah, the lack of bios is fucking shit. Adrian, good to see you. He's going, I like Cassidy. Rocks, cool tune. Nice. David's here. G'day all. Rock on. Good to see you, man. And Adrian also said HZed like the guitar playing. There is some very cool riffing in there. So. Alrighty, so up next is another song, obviously, which I've got the call on this one, so I'm going to put the link in the comments now. This is For the Wolves with Ghosts. This is the latest from the Brisbane-based band that originally formed in 2015. It's the fourth single from the band after an EP back in 2018. But aside from that, I don't have a heap of other information on this one because, yeah, it's just one of those local bands that, like, the bio is good. It's just finding information on this particular single. The single was a bit troubling. That said, it did well because it made it to number 2 this week and was assigned to me. So let's get into it. I found this one in particular to be a really interesting track. There's quite a bit going on. They packed a lot into like a 3.5-minute song, which I thought was really well done. It's got great atmosphere. It's got a dark feel, but also really spacious. That said, there's a bit of a building aspect to this song as well. And then it sort of tails away right at the end and really haunting. I would love to hear this song in the context of an album because it feels like one of those songs that has a build up before and after in terms of the overall listening of something as well. It's an interesting single. There's some progressive layering in this one that's really interesting as well. Adding to this is the vocals that are back in the mix gives this whole thing a big atmosphere. And as it goes along, the lead work sort of picks up and fills that space too. And that in turn allows the bottom end to really warm up and add some serious rumble to the sound overall too. So the way this thing built and sort of went through its motions and gear change was really just intriguing and captivating to listen to for me. Never goes full on heavy or anything like that, but there's some real solid weight to this song. And I think there's great storytelling in both the music and the lyrics in this one in particular. It all flows well. It sort of melds its way into your heart and mind as well. I think for me, it's one that took a second, especially with the other songs around on the playlist. Took me half a minute to sort of get my head around it. But once you're there, I think it just hits you in the right spot. For me, it did anyway. It is a different song, but it's one of those ones that just, leaves you with one hell of an impression. At the same time, there's something eerily familiar about it as well, even though it's different, that just makes sure it sets its hooks under your skin. And we've covered the band, another one of those songs, not too long ago now. For me, this is another reason to keep up to date with what they're doing. It's moody and brooding for sure, but the use of space and atmosphere really was special for me on this particular song. And the mix of sort of melody and angst was just right as well. I think you do need to listen to this one for yourself. It's not going to be for absolutely everyone. It's not one of those ones, catchy hook and all that sort of stuff that's going to be, a barn burner kind of a track. But for me, it's one of those ones that it's just sort of a bit seductive. It's very real. It feels like it's just got a way of sort of, getting my attention anyway. Very, very cool. I enjoyed this track. I look forward to more. And hopefully sooner rather than later, we do get more. I gave this one 8 shots. So I gave this one, it was a lot of fun there too. So let's do the rounds quickly here. Thumbs up, thumbs down. How we going? Nice. No. Okay. All right. Very mixed feedback on that one. We'll see how we go there as things go on. Hard Music is here. G'day all. Good to see you. Vinny's gone thumbs up for the Wolves. Feel like I'd like to learn more about them, which we will get to hopefully in due course, but we'll see how that plays out. One more song to go though quickly. Which means I'm going to put in the comments now. It's another Those Damn Crows song with the Night Train. This band's getting a lot of love. We covered all the preamble on this one before. So there's another song from the same album. There's another single from the same album. Just like the album. The album was the band's first #1 in the UK for Those Damn Crows. The album was God-Shaped Hole. Just like that album, this song went to #1 in our playlist this week. So all that being said, we don't need to do too much preamble. Dave, let's throw to you. How'd you go?
Is it wrong that I laugh every time that I hear this album name, God-Shaped Hole? I'm got the mentality of a 12-year-old. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay. This song, Night Train. Nothing to do with Guns N' Roses. Okay, The Night Train.
Yeah.
This falls into the familiar but different category because it fits into that niche of what's been done before, and I can't quite place my finger on what it reminds me exactly. But just that whole safe area of what you know. And however, that's kind of why I struggle with this song, because I feel like I've heard it before. I've put this on so many times with the intention of stay focused while you're listening to this, but around the time the solo finishes, I always drift. I'm like, fuck, put it on again, and it just doesn't keep my attention, but all the way through. It's well done for what it is. It might just be a case I've heard too many songs. The solo itself is really good. There's a nice build and the notes are left to ring. It's really well done. But yeah, everyone's losing their shit over this band, and I feel like how Bell must feel about Ghost because they're all right, but yeah, 5 shots.
Okay, 5 shots. All right, cool. Let's do the rounds then quickly. How are we going with this one? Thumbs up, thumbs down, people. I liked it. I like the album, so it's good for me and good for Jeff, good for Bell. So, but it's cool how we're getting different feedback from all the songs, which is it's cool. Like we always stipulate it's good to not always agree all the time. It'd be fucking boring if we did. So I'm glad that it's getting different feedback going on. For the record here, Vinny says Night Train. He's almost squirting over this one. So there we go.
Oh my god. Sorry.
To be fair, in the comments, he has very, very much in Discord and that very much fallen in love with this band and this album. So there we have that. Vinny says, watch the film clip to Night Train, Dave. It really captures its serenity. So there's a trick for you as well. It's an interesting video clip for that one. So they're trying to tease you in, Dave, if you choose to do so. If not, that is entirely up to you. Mm-hmm. All right, people, if you want a drink break, toilet break, whatever else have you, then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the Hard Rock happenings very quickly, just a couple of bits of news and then recap the releases. And then I think if we're lucky, we might get Conrad in very, very quickly for just a quick catch up with him and then move on to other things. But we will see how that plays out behind the scenes there. But first off, I just have some sad news to share. I've kept the news sort of brief this week because obviously got a lot to get through tonight. The Hard Rock happening, the news start. Fucking hell, I'm losing my shit. The sad news to start the thing tonight, which is not a good lead-in. For those that were Melbourne locals for a long time, you'd have been to Cherry Bar, obviously, at some stage or another. And over the years, you probably have bumped into or seen Slug, the bouncer at the door, who was the bouncer there for a number of years. He has unfortunately passed away. I'm not sure of any details and all sort of stuff there. I saw the information doing the rounds there. So this guy was one of those local stalwarts that everyone knew in the scene and everyone had a lot of good things to say about him. So we just wanted to pass on our condolences to his family and all that knew and loved him because he was one of those figures in the Melbourne scene that everyone knew. And unfortunately, it just seems to have, I'm not sure, like I said, any details, just saw the word doing the rounds online. So again, our best wishes and condolences to all those that knew and loved him. I do have one bit of positive news to back it up with, though, which is an interesting one because there is a new thing called Hellbound Cruise, which is launching in October 2026. This is a 3-day cruise. I think from memory it departs from Sydney, though. I might be wrong on that one. If anyone knows better, then double check me and correct me if I'm wrong. But this is a boat big enough to hold about 2,500 people, apparently. And the lineup includes Parkway Drive, Polaris, North Lane Bell, The Butterfly Effect, Make Them Suffer, In Heart's Wake, Relica, who we covered last year, and many, many more. So it's one hell of a heavy lineup. Very curious how it works out, but I just know it's a 3-day cruise. They do have the tickets are on sale from May 15, and there are sort of a bunch of pay by the month sort of installment things you can do as well. So we'll see how things play out there. So if you're keen, look it up. Tickets on sale in a couple of weeks. Now, this week's new releases for this week in particular was very, very quiet compared to last week. I'll get to that in a second. Just quickly here, this week we have Crematory with Destination, Gypsy Pistoleros with Welcome to the Church of the Pistoleros, Nightfall have Children of Eve, and Puddle of Mud, if you want to torture yourself, release their new album, Kiss the Machine. Just so you know that got out. So that's the highlights of this week. Let's go to the highlights of last week's list. Last week was much, much bigger. So just for a little taste, he had Elvatia with their new album, Env. I'm not sure how to pronounce that one, but anyway. Ghost, in case you missed that one, released Skeleta. Harem Scarum released Chasing Euphoria. Hate, Welcome to the Future, had their new album come out. We also have Machine Head with Unatoned come out as well.
Great.
There you go. Jeff's happy there. And Wednesday 13 have Mid-Death Crisis. There we go.
Great album.
So I've teased it all up and gone, this week is not so good. Last week's list was fucking epic. So that's not even everything there. I just want to give a quick little run through of what happened on that front there with what's going on. Back to the songs and comments. Jolie says Night Train was slow for me, which is cool. Damon, good to see you. He's going to keep up the awesome work, legends. Such a good collaboration. Always enjoy listening to your work. Rock and roll forever. Thank you very much for the kind words. Really, really do appreciate it. Mick says, even though I love a lot of the Hellbound cruise bands, I can't justify the price nor the fact that a lot of the bands are on other festival lineups often. That's an interesting. I did see the price and I've gone, oh, it's an interesting experiment. I do wish everyone all the best, genuinely.
How much is it?
Yeah.
I didn't see the price.
I think because you got to get a cabin to be on the cruise. It's like $1,000, I think, is the minimum.
Oh wow, yeah.
So I don't know for sure, but I don't know for sure. But I've seen when they had the
Sounds
packages
right.
release. Yeah, I haven't done a cruise, so I can't speak to it. But yeah, they
usually
said,
like food, like you get food and pretty much everything.
I think it's just the main meals, but not drinks and that. It's just fucking.
No,
sure. Yeah. So I'm not sure the particulars. They do have a Facebook post and page up, so if you do want to look up Hellbound, you'll find it. It's by Destroy All Lines. Michael has jumped in saying thinking 2K as well. So there's, I think, like I said, $1 was like the cheapest. They went up well and truly above that one, and you can pay by the month. But the reason why I worked it out was because like you had 12 months at like 125 a month, I think was the cheapest I saw from memory, but don't quote me on this. I could be wrong. And Michael's also gone no drinks packages, which makes it all a bit more interesting. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Vinny has also chimed in to say, Dear Matilda also play their farewell gig this weekend before they head to the UK. Okay, cool. Well, for those that want to get around it.
Good on them.
Yeah, that's awesome news, man. Thank you for sharing that. Cool. There we go. I'm not sure. Jeff, just quickly, did we get Conrad or is there? I'm not sure. I haven't got him in the back room here.
Send him the link. Send him the link.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll see what happens in that regard. While we do see what happens there, I'm going to move over to the backyard. Oh no, there we go. Just in time. As we speak of the devil, let's get this one sorted out here. There we go. That was good timing. You did that well. How are we going?
Just in time. We speak of the devil. Let's get this one sorted out here. Yeah. There we go. That was good timing. You did that well.
Wow.
There's a lag.
Absolutely.
There is a lag. Yeah.
This one's sorted out here. There we go.
G'day, how's it going?
Wow. That's
Okay, I'm just going to hang on a minute. Let me get rid of something. Right, that'll be better.
Okay, cool. That was a weird loop. How you going?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it. Okay, I got the laptop going on. This is through the phone.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have the webcam as yet.
Okay, cool. No worries. That makes a bit more sense. At least you can hear us okay, I'm assuming. So it all looks good. So it's all going well.
Yeah.
Nice shirt, Ben. I like that.
Good shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
I got that at the gig. Yeah.
I'm mad.
Nice. So here's a quick question for you, Conrad, just while we've got you. Two quick questions here. One, what's a band you've discovered via the Hard Rock Show over the years?
Ooh, that's interesting. Eat the Damn Orange.
Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah. Awesome.
Good band.
Not as a serious band. I would think. Recently Cassidy Paris. Recently,
okay, nice.
Checked her out. She's coming to London. She's been here before actually, but she's coming to London.
Yep.
I think North Lane, probably through Bell.
There you go.
Talking about North Lane. Who I saw at the Soundwave Festival.
Nice.
Yes.
And
yes, that rainy old afternoon.
It was quite well. I saw them in Melbourne and then in Sydney. Yeah, they're quite good actually. I thought, these guys were quite impressive. I mean, there's probably been a few. You put me on the spot like this. It
was just a quick one.
But there'd be several. I don't doubt. There's certainly domestic Australian bands, definitely.
Yeah.
Because you promote a lot of homegrown domestic talent, Australian talent. So yeah.
Nice, cool. And the other one, have you been on any rock and roll cruises or metal cruises? Is that something you've done, cruises?
I wanted to. Just money has always been at that time. I've always had festival tickets booked to go do festivals, and it's like those are a little bit more expensive, those cruises, because you have to feed people. So they meals are included in the price and cabins, all that sort of thing. They tend to be a little bit more pricey, but I mean the 70,000 tons looks great.
There was the Mega Cruise for a little while. Mega Cruise ran for a couple of years. There was the Megadeth one. There was the one out of LA, I think, which is more of a glam metal kind of one, or a hair metal one. So there's quite a few different ones. There's a Mediterranean one now they've got up and running.
Yeah.
So I think that would be one I'd probably do. If we've got the funds, I'd do it in a heartbeat. So hopefully I will.
Cool.
Hopefully we'll get
it's
to
just
do
topical.
Sure.
Yeah, just topical because there was one announced in Australia,
Yeah.
past week, which is Hellbound.
I mean, a lot of those bands don't really do it for me on that Aussie one, but the idea, I think the idea is great, and if you can get internationals on board, fantastic. That's great, you know.
Yep.
It's just again cost, and people are probably going to struggle with that, especially rock and roll audiences aren't going to have a spare grand lying around to be able to justify that on a cruise, but.
Yeah.
You know, again, it comes down to why are they the cost that they are? Well, you've got to feed people for 3 days. That's all. Yeah. There they are.
So what have you been up to? What bands have you seen lately? What give us the feel for the ground over there, Conrad?
Well, I got not lately since I got back. I only got back 3 weeks ago, didn't I, from Australia?
Yeah.
So who have I seen since I got back? Just local kind of bands, nothing international yet. I got Sisters of Mercy coming up, and Stephen Wilson. Wilson's doing 4 nights at Palladium. Stephen Wilson doing 4 nights at Palladium, so that'll be great. And then Stephen Wilson. So then Sisters of Mercy, couple of nights. I think Steel Panther we got coming up as well. Cool. Jerry Cantrell, Steel Panther. Nice. There's quite a lot. Guns N' Roses, Iron Maiden. There's quite a lot coming up in June.
Nice.
There'll be a lot coming up in June. So that June's going to be mental. May.
Conrad. I think that Aussie band, you probably, I don't know, you might have seen them, Sisters Doll. I think they're headed to the UK shortly. I think they're touring there soon.
Yeah, I think I see it. I know though. Yeah, I've seen them before. I thought I saw them at that. There was a fest down at. What was it? The Prince of Wales.
Big glam
fest there. Yeah. I saw them there, so I'd go and see them again. I know the bar that they're playing. I've pretty much all the Aussie bands when they first come to London, they play that same venue, and then if they get. Unless they're bigger, of course, but that sort of means the one that they say Cassidy, Paris playing there. Yeah. Its Sisters Doll will be there. Yeah, I know it. It's the Maiden place, actually. That's the Maiden.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. That was
it's
cool
the Cart and Horses. Underneath the Cart and Horses, underneath the pub, is a venue there, and that's where the bands play. Small, it's tiny, but it's still nevertheless it's where most people come to play when they come here from Oz, it would appear.
Cool.
We've got alien weaponry out here soon with somebody else.
Nice.
Playing with
that'd be cool.
They're playing with somebody else out here. I think they're supporting somebody out here.
Nice. Cool. Well, Jolie says hi, Conrad, and Vinny's also chimed in to say, "Is this the Who Did You Meet This Week Conrad segment?" What's going on there?
Who have I met in town this week? I've been working on boxing matches. Actually, I did boxing recently. Yeah, been doing some box. Did that Nigel? What's his Eubank and Ben? I worked on at the stadium. Yeah, worked on that. So
nice.
Yeah, doing those.
But all things are well. You're keeping busy, keeping well, keeping healthy over there.
Keeping very busy. busy. And hopefully busier again soon as well with some more work. A different avenue of work, which will hopefully fund this ridiculously expensive lifestyle that I have.
Seen all those bands. Yeah, you got a few coming up in the radar. So
you need a bit of money to coming in to see all these bands. It's not like years ago. I used to get into a lot of things for free years ago. I can't get into so much free stuff these days. I did go to a battle jacket competition. We have this. There was a battle jacket contest at the Underworld, the Camden Underworld, which holds a lot of great bands play there. And they had this battle jacket contest where everybody who has battle jackets came down and all competed in this battle jacket. It was really cool, actually. It was really good fun. Yeah. It was a battle jacket vest off
Best
Wow.
stuff. They've had a couple of those down here with pull the plug patches and that too. So it is a thing that seems to do the rounds, which is kind of cool.
Awesome.
Great. Excellent.
Yeah. Well, I will give you more homework in the future, Conrad, but we do have a lot to get through tonight. So unfortunately, I'm just going to
I'll get out the way, guys.
But if there's anything else you want to say quickly before we get out of here?
Not off the top of my head. I'm going to have to. Yeah. I can't think right now. Who's out there playing out there soon? You got anyone coming out there?
Don't know at the moment, man. I haven't been keeping up to date. I've got a lot on, so I'm not really too sure. But we'll have a think about it, and I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing.
No
big,
worries.
no.
Right. Okay.
All good.
Fair enough. See you soon.
Yeah. Good to see you, man. Look like yourself.
And if you can send me through some links, some links, please.
Yeah.
For next week. Thank you. Cheers.
Cool. Have a good one, mate.
See you, audience. Bye, audience.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. I'm going to quickly move us over to the backup. Bang, what have we got here? Actually, quickly here, Kat said, not ready to sell my firstborn just yet, although I want to do music cruise one day. They are expensive.
Yeah.
Music says, I had such high hopes for the new Machine Head album, but was disappointed. It could be much better if Vogue was still in the band. Interesting. And Michael said, Avatar was special guest alien weaponry in the UK, Europe in Feb, March. That's in 26. That's what Conrad, I think, was referring to there. Next one here is Living Through Mirrors with Everlasting. This is the backyard banger for the week, was my assignment. So we're going to get into that one now. It's 11 tracks, 49 minutes, the debut album from this interesting project made up of 2 full-time members and 2 guest members as it stands today. Released March 31st independently, mixed by Roland Kudar, mastered by Thomas Pleck Johansson. 4 singles been released from this, including Eyes of the Weak and War. There is also a cover of Run to You, which is very different to the original, which is released as a single outside of this album. But that's not part of this album, like I was saying. This was brought to us by Carl, who Dave and I know from Divine Ascension. This is very different to that project. And joining him in this project is Michael Pace from Slightly Left of Center, with vocals performed by Marco Duplisac of Inmate and Rolf Pilv of Stradivarius doing drums on this one too. Like I said, Carl sent this to us in the hope that we'd give it some time. So I was randomly assigning. I put everything in a playlist, just randomly throw them out there, and this is what was given to me. So this is one of those ones that is very different to Divine Ascension, so don't go in expecting that one. This is modern, slick. For me, though, effortlessly listenable. It's crucially, though, it strikes a balance between melody all over it. It's very, very heavy and hitting hard for the most part here. From the jump, this builds with a really good atmosphere. The tension sets up the scene from the opening moment of the album for me. Then it hits with a riff that just explodes and just sort of kicks off from there. That first moment unleashes a powerful mix of aggression, groove, and a hook that just sort of sinks in really, really deep. It makes you want to crank it for me, and it's got killer tempo shifts. It's got smart use of space that keeps things dynamic and interesting, and the lead work is pretty impressive across this one, all within the opening track. Then comes Fear of the Unknown, flipping the script overall. This one starts more melodic before diving into a heavier sort of chorus, so to speak. The groove there, though, is infectious, and that Eastern sort of flavored tone that added to that song in particular really grabbed me. That is the perfect follow-up to the killing opening track there. From there, the album stays locked into that sort of potent formula all the way through. Power and precision offset by, space and melody. It's a really well-balanced album throughout. You get moments of blistering intensity as you expect with this stuff, but there's also room for atmosphere, texture, and brilliant lead guitar work, which you should expect from these guys. The rhythm section, though, on that note, hits hard, drums and bass locked in tight, and vocally the performance is outstanding for me. Both the harsher and the cleaner sides are delivered beautifully with great tone variation throughout the whole album as far as I was concerned. And there's also a lot of clever little things in here too. There's use of harmony, layered elements, sort of slower solos that really breathe, thanks to smart use of space. Credit to the production on this one across the board. I'm not sure who actually recorded it, but the mixing, we got through the credits of that before. It's a mix that sort of punches you in the face, but still finds space to sound lush and detailed as well. Heavy, yes, but also beautiful in places at the same time. I think lyrically, this has got really good, strong storytelling. The compositions elevate those narratives. The mix ensures they sort of cut through clearly. You can tell these are seasoned musicians. This might be a debut album from this particular outfit, but everyone's got pedigree and it shows. This is a confident, well-honed statement of a release. For me, the real standout moment on the album came midway through with War and then Deceiving Minds going back to back on this one. It's a perfect showcase of the band's breadth. One track brings sheer brutality. The next delivers a more accessible melodic punch. That light and shade dynamic works incredibly well, not just between the songs themselves, but also within the songs too. And I think the album flows really naturally. There's no sort of jarring shifts or filler moments for me, and it's smooth, engaging from start to finish. Honestly, this could be a gateway album for folks that are usually turned off by the heavier stuff, so to speak. I wonder if Dave will agree with this one, because for me, it feels a bit like Frankenbach and Warbirds having a baby. That's what it sort of feels like to me listening to this one.
That's the most bizarre combination I can think of.
No.
I
Right.
don't get Warbirds at all, man.
No, okay, I don't know, but there's all the brutal heaviness that you want wrapped inside the musical finesse as well. I think it's a cohesive package, and while there isn't any sort of traditional ballads here per se, they do slow things down when needed. The title track delivers one of those softer touches, followed by Veil of Truth, which brings a slower, chunkier weight that lands beautifully. Placing those moments later in the track list toward the end of the album was a nice touch to it. Make sure the whole album is rounded out well. Not going to lie, I wasn't sure what to expect when I first put it on. I was like, shit, this is different and heavier to Divine Ascension, but I came away seriously impressed after spending some time with it. The album opens strong, closes stronger for mine, and keeps you locked in with plenty of twists along the way. If this is the beginning, this project could be one that I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on. It could be very special. A massive thanks to Carl for sending this through. I really did enjoy this one. This one's going to stay in rotation for me. Even if this isn't usually your thing, I do genuinely think it's worth a go. I think it's rewarding, immersive, and keeps growing stronger on repeat listens as well. So I loved it. I gave it 9 shots. I picked Fear of the Unknown, Sense of Reason, Veil of Truth, and Last December as my standouts on this one. Dave, how'd you go?
Yeah, guitar playing's awesome. Heavy riffs and lots of melodies. Melodies are really interesting. As you said, very different to Divine Ascension. Modern take on metal. The clean vocals were cool. I did struggle with the harsh vocals. Yeah, being honest, simply because sometimes my first listen, I thought, has this finished and has Arch Enemy started? Because it just harsh vocals are harsh vocals, and I fucking can't tell one apart from the other in some cases. So it does sound a little cliched in parts when you're hearing some of these words like agony and destruction, and it's just, well, which fucking band am I listening to? But apart from that, the clean vocals were enough to. It wasn't too heavy on either, so went back and forth, which made it listenable. For me, the guitar playing is the standout on this, which is fucking cool. Nice. Overall, give it an 8.
Nice. All right, cool. I wasn't sure how you go with it, but I'm glad that it had enough there to sort of hold you all the way through, which I'm glad that one was cool for you. All right, Belle, let's go to you.
Okay, I thought the guitar work was really impressive on this album. That was my main standout as well. Also, I really like the clean vocals that showcase some really great melodies and harmonies, and at the same time mirrored the more melodic guitar moments. They kind of both shone together. There were some really groovy sections in this album that set it apart from others in this style. Like you, Dave, the harsh vocals could do with some work to make them a bit more, or a bit less generic sounding. I have no issue with harsh vocals, but only if you inject some individuality into them. I didn't quite get that with these ones. Sorry. That was a tricky one for me. I like parts and I didn't like parts, so I'll split the difference and say 5 shots, but maybe give it an extra shot because, as I understand it, it's they might be seasoned musicians, but they're new.
It's a new one.
And so acknowledging that it's the first album for this particular group of musicians. So I guess 6. Yeah.
No. All right. Cool. Jeff, final word?
Yeah, I like this. I found it. There was a few moments that sort of took me out. I don't know if it was vocal related. It may have been, but I think it might have been the harsh vocals more than the lighter style, the cleaner vocals. And it was that, there was something that just didn't gel with me for a little while. But then you'd listen to the next song and it was like, oh, okay, this song's fine. So it was song by song basis. It wasn't like the whole thing all the way through. And so for that, it felt a little bit disjointed. But yeah, the guitar playing is fucking great on this album. It really, and it's very well produced, I must say as well. The sound quality on this album I thought was really well done.
Yeah, the mix
at least
is great.
for my money. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd like to know what the guitar player's rig is because I like his sound. I'd like to try to emulate that if I could. It's a good sound. And so yeah, so I think this overall, I enjoyed this. I think it was a good listen. So I'm gonna give it a 7 though, because like I said, I think there was a little bit hit and miss at times.
Yep.
So yeah,
cool. No, there you go. That's how you know we're honest, folks. If we all love something, you know we all love it, and then you know that we're honest in return. So it's good to get the interesting feedback. Like I was saying early on, if we all thought the same thing, it'd be fucking boring.
True.
What do we got here? Vinny said Frankenbach with Judah Chop. That is an album, a gig coming up in the near future. Adrian says, I dig the guitar work, Living Through Mirrors. Yep.
Yeah.
Hard music, though, on Hellbound Cruise. Cabin start at $1,548 for the interior cabin and go up to $3,540 for the suites. Wow. Price covers all accommodation, band performances, venue access, onboard activities, main meals.
That's
a
per
lot of
person,
money.
by the way.
I wouldn't pay that because if I went, I'd probably jump overboard. So I'm out.
That'd be kind of disappointing. Nicole's here. Good to see you. She got hello, lovelies.
Hello.
Good to see you, Nicole.
Hello, Nicole.
Then we got here. Vinny says next weekend the Bendigo Hotel. That's the other gig there. But then the site stays $250 cash back if booking is paid in full. Monthly repayments or quarterly payments available in installments. 14 decks, 24 lounges and bars, mini golf, water slides, 7 hot tubs, etc. There you go. That's what's going on with the Hellbound Cruise there. So thank you for the extra information there. Hard music. All right, back to the backyard banger. Next week is Bell's turn with Lumens. Their self-titled EP is coming up next week on the show there. Let's move over to Fretboard Feud Builder Collection 1985 edition. So just quickly, we're going to go through and pick albums from each month of the year 85. Now, January we did last week, and that was a bit tougher because it's not as big of a list as you might want to go through in January in most years. Bit of a bigger list this time around, which I'm not going to go through. Well, we had a fair bit more to choose from. Just a quick reminder to you guys before I go into the results of last week that if you do want to later on, if nothing from the particular month grabs you, you can go back to a previous month and use a wildcard choice once per this whole thing to go back and grab something from a previous month that hasn't been chosen by anyone else and add it to your list instead of anything from the new month. So as a hypothetical, if something did hit you in January, which hasn't happened, I'm pretty sure, but just in case, if you did find something in January that you liked more than anything from this list, you could add it to your list this time around. That said, last week, Bell took Loudness, Thunder in the East. I took David Lee Roth, Crazy from the Heat. Jeff took George Thorogood and Destroyers with Maverick, and Dave took Hawkwind, Bring Me the Head of Yuri Gagarin. And as such, the points played out like this. So I ended up coming in first, which was, I didn't expect that, but there we go. I got 50 points for David Lee Roth. Jeff got 40 for George Thorogood. Bell,
wow,
even an album that Jeff would have taken first, 30 points for Thunder in the East. And Dave, I know we'll talk about Bell, but I'm going to give 20 points today. I'm just going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, and then we'll worry about just drop the 10 and make it a 20 instead in the scoring profile there, Bell, just because there's only 4 of us now.
Did I write 10?
Yeah, you wrote 10. So.
Oh, I meant 20. I'm sorry. I was trying to rip
cool. No,
Dave
that's
off.
all right. I'm just making sure. Anyway,
Dave.
It's okay, Dave. I gave you 20. It's all good. So 20 points for Dave after all that. So as things stands, it's 50, 40, 30, 20 in order of me, Jeff, Bell, then Dave, which brings us over to round 2. Dave had the last choice last week. So Dave gets first cab off the rank. That's how we do things, rotated through. So Dave, you got first pick of the litter. Which one are you going for this week?
Yeah, I'm going Anthrax. Armed and Dangerous.
I thought that might go pretty quick. I didn't think that would last very long at all. Shock horror. So Anthrax for that one. All right, Belle, you're up next.
I think that this was a slightly better list in January, but not as good as what you would hope. So yeah, I'm going to go with something that I didn't really know much again. But I did know a couple. I'm going to go with something I know and something I like or used to like. And as you know, before I discovered rock and metal, it was after 1985, but I was listening to music, mostly pop, and one of those albums happens to be on here, and that's Phil Collins' No Jacket Required.
No Jacket
It was
Required,
a favorite. Yeah. In my late primary years. It was
great album.
Yeah, really, really good. So I loved it then. And I put it on today for the first time in probably 40 years.
Decades.
Once I discovered hard rock, that was it. Like, you know, there's been dabbling, but I haven't really gone back. So Yeah, it's definitely they've definitely dated, but the songwriting, like his songwriting is so solid that you can kind of overlook the 80s icing on top kind of thing, because they're just good songs. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Anyway, so that's it.
All right. Cool. Got an outlier there. We'll see how it goes in the polling. You never know. Like, everyone knows these albums and knows them well. I get to go next. Jeff, you go last, which means you go first next week. But I'm going to take an album with Steve Vai, the only one he did with this band. I'm going to take Alcatraz, Disturbing the Peace. That's what I'm going to take for my choice there, just because it's well loved. The whole idea is to try and get some audience points. So I'm going to play the game and see what happens in that regard. Which means, Jeff, final call belongs to you for this week.
Well, as it happens, I get the album that I wanted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so no one took it. So that's going to be Accept Metal Heart, because I'm a fucking massive Accept fan. And Metal Heart, love that song, love that album. Midnight Mover, fucking one of my favorite songs of all time. Yep. So I get Metal Heart. Yes, thank you.
There you go. Well, you would have got your first choice anyway. So just to recap, Dave took the obvious with Anthrax, Armed and Dangerous. I don't think any of us thought that was going to last very long. Bell has gone off on a bit of a tangent, taking Phil Collins, No Jacket Required. I've got Alcatraz, Disturbing the Peace, and Jeff has Accept with Metal Heart. So we'll see what happens. Next week, we're going to do March, so we'll just keep moving on through things, which means now, just going to play catch up here. I'll get to the comments later on. Jeff, it's up to you to play something completely different. So what have you got for us this week?
Well, or it could be playing something completely the same. I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna do. I've got something planned for the future. I'm not gonna spoil it, but for now, we're just gonna do this. So this is we're gonna play Who Am I?
Okay,
so
cool.
We always like that. Okay.
Is it person, album, band? What is it?
Oh, it's a person. It's a person.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's see who gets there first then.
Okay, so I'm just gonna shrink my screen so I'll be able to see you all. So when somebody puts their hand
Are you
up,
just looking at yourself?
Yeah. Good, Jake. Good, Dave. That's very, very funny. Dave missed his calling. He should have been a comedian. All right.
Not the first time someone's told me that, mate.
Probably won't be the last either. All right.
Here we go.
All right. So here we go. Are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. If you are.
All right.
Please stop.
I'm definitely ready. Okay. Now, if somebody gets this right off the fucking bat, because I know Dave has done it in the past.
Yeah.
He's got form.
A couple of times.
Yeah. Okay. But I tried. Look, this is not super hard, but because I've been known to go too hard in the past.
Yes.
So I tried to make it a
balancing
little
act is
bit
hard.
Correct. I think everyone here's got a shot at this.
Yeah.
All right. Without further ado, I was born in Tampa, Florida, in September 1956. Everyone's going, who was born in September 1956?
No, I'm not typing nothing.
No, I know, but people watching. Okay, but at an early age, I moved with my parents to Staten Island, New York. So I moved from Florida to Staten Island.
Okay.
I grew up in a fundamental Baptist family, and I was very much active in church. And by the age of 11, I was born again.
I
know. That's a very young age to be born again, but hey.
Wow, that's something.
In my late...
back out.
Yeah.
Yep. In my late teens, this is question 3, by the way. In my late teens, I strayed from the church, and I became very interested in the occult. I would study occultism. Yes?
Blackie Lawless.
Blackie Lawless. Dave, you're a cunt. You have one game.
Thing is, Jeff, to be honest, when you said study the occult, I went straight there. Just Dave beat me to it, so I was right there as well. Yeah.
Wow, that's good. That's question 3.
I almost had on the first one because Florida to Staten Island, there was a connection there. I was like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I knew this would be a little bit easier. I tried to deliberately do it on purpose. But I didn't know it was that fucking easy. Holy shit.
Oh my God.
That was like, fucking hell. Never had a shot.
No.
Wow.
Well done.
I wouldn't have got it that early. Fucking hell.
Well, it wasn't just Dave, it was me as well. I was like half a second behind. So I was like, once you said the changed from that to the occult, and then
He's done a complete 360 in his life. He's gone back to
the other way.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway,
that's right.
What's the rest of your questions, man?
That's it. Yeah. What's the effort you put in?
Okay, so
let's see where I would have got it, if at all.
Yep. All right, so he became very interested in the cult. He studied occultism for a short time, but those influences would make their way into his early music. Okay, question 4. Now, even though I'm known today for music, it wasn't my first passion. It was sports. I was actively considering pursuing a career in professional baseball, but it was my older brother who introduced me to the guitar, and that ultimately changed my life. My biggest influences back then was AC/DC, Black Sabbath, the Beatles, Kiss, and Alice Cooper. Question 5. It wouldn't be long before I was playing with well-known bands, New York bands, Orphax Rainbow and Black Rabbit. Okay. Now, I had never heard of those fuckers. I don't know how well known they are. I looked them up. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck these bands are, but I've never heard of them. But question 6 was, you probably might have gotten at this one. When Johnny Thunders left the New York rock band, New York Dolls, they started auditioning guitarists. I auditioned and I got the job, but I only stayed for the remainder of the tour. After that, I went to California with their bassist, Arthur Kane, and helped to found Killer Kane. And a year later, Kane headed back to New York, but I stayed in Los Angeles. In 76, I formed the band Sister with Randy Piper, and later Nikki Sixx joined on bass, and guitarist Lizzie Gray joined. Then in 1978, Chris Holmes would join. In 1979, I formed Circus with Piper and the lineup. But that band would fail. And in 1981, I would join Lizzie Gray and Nikki Sixx band London. We played a few gigs. I recorded a couple songs, by which time Nikki Sixx had actually left to form his band, Motley Crue. Question 9 was in 1982, I put another project together, switched to bass after firing original member Rick Fox, and that completed the lineup. Randy Piper, Chris Holmes on guitar, with Tony Richards on drums, and myself on bass and vocals. Question 10, we would change the name of the band to Wasp, but if you didn't get it by this time, you're really fucked. As I have returned to my Christian roots once again, I would consider myself a born-again Christian. I no longer write about the occult and the devil, and my name, of course, is
Blackie
Lawless.
Yeah.
So very good, Dave. Question 3. Very good. Did I make it too easy this time? Maybe I did.
No. I think
that was pretty good.
Yeah,
you would not have got it, Bill? Would you have got any?
As soon as you mentioned Chris Holmes,
I was
I would
wondering
have got
if
it. Yeah, so that was still way past the other two.
Yeah. But still. Very well done. Okay, good job. Good job. Yeah.
Well done to Dave again for being smarter and quicker than the rest of us here tonight. So done on that one.
MAT. I am so sorry.
It's like all of us here, man. It's a collection. But hang on, I got some comments here because Adrian said 85 Loudness Thunder in the East. What a great album. Except Metal Heart Rocks. There we go. Nicole's gone, yes, except. Vinny's gone David Lee Roth. But then, haha, what a compliment. You're a cunt.
High praise.
High praise.
Verge, good to see you, I guess. All right, an interesting chat and maybe not so common. Well, we tried our best to do something different. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you're enjoying the show tonight. All right, well, speaking of something different, we managed to pull back ourselves right onto schedule now, which is interesting. But a new segment we're going to bring in now at the behest of, in particular, Dave and Bell have pushed for this one behind the scenes. We're going to bring it in and change things up as the end of the episode rolls along. So we're going to bring in a new thing called Border Buster. Now, you're all familiar by now with Backyard Banger, which we put the spotlight on a local band. This new segment here, we're going to be doing week in, week out. If you've got a better idea than Border Buster, then just let me know in the comments. But this is one where we bring in an album each, but we get to choose it. It's not randomly assigned. It's each week we have a turn. You get to choose the album. The only thing is it has to be from this year and from a non-Australian band. That's how it sort of works. It's time to do the overseas stuff.
Yep.
So all that being done, as we rotated through things, as we do, everyone gets their turn to play things. We have Belle with her first choice here tonight, which is Frantic Amber. So in the link in the description box, in the comments and description box, you'll find a link to the song Angel Maker. Before that, quickly, Sverige said, Wasp, I think, finally got to know what it means, but there actually was a debate program long ago about the band name in Swedish television. I'm not sure what. Did anyone ever get to the bottom of the acronym?
No. We ain't sure, pal.
Yeah,
Sorry?
Look, we ain't sure, pal?
We ain't sure, pal.
I haven't heard that one.
Okay, well, there we go.
But yeah, we are sexual perverts, white Anglo-Saxon, Protestant. You got all that stuff. So who knows?
Want a salty peanut?
Yeah, well, there's the We Are Sexual Perverts jumped in there too, but there's okay. All sorts of stuff there. Let's just, hang on, have some fun with the comments. Perverted. Yeah, well, that's a good one too. Let us know the most twisted one you can come up with for the acronym. Go
Vinny,
on, have fun.
This is right up your alley, Vinny. Come
yeah, Vinny, please. This will be good. While we do that, while you guys have fun, we're going to move on. So, Belle, the first choice is yours. I'm going to a bit of a preamble here, and then I'll throw to you. So, Belle chose for us, like I was saying, Frantic Amber with their album Death Becomes Her. This is 11 tracks for 50 minutes. The third album from the Swedish band, released April 2025 via Raw and Rock of Angels. Self-produced by the band at Rory Sound Studios, 5 singles have so far been released from this, including Angel Maker and Black Widow. Originally, the band formed in 2008. This is an all-female melodic death metal group that have had a few lineup changes over the years, but here they are with something that Belle chose to challenge us all with. This is like an amalgamation of finding something that's new and also seeing how much we can piss everyone else off sometimes. We'll see what happens tonight. But Belle, let's go back to the old torture days. It's a bit of I'm making fun. I'm seriously making fun. Don't worry. But that being said, that setup all said and done. Over to you.
Okay, well, that was not my intention.
No, I know. I'm playing.
Hoping that it was as loved as what I have come to love it. Oh, that's terrible English. Anyway, you are impossible. All right,
me was brain. Like.
Don't pull your head to your shoulder.
Oh no. My doctor's going to get less nosebleeds by getting my fingers out of there. Like,
I have a red crayon. I hate it.
Fuck. Anyway.
Okay, sorry.
All right, Ralph. Shall I start? Okay, so I came across Frantic Amber while I was doing research for the Women in Rock and Metal TV episode that we did a while back. And so, looking through, I don't know, probably YouTube or Google. And, came across the single Jolly Jane, which was, I think, the first single off the album. That was the only one out at the time. So the album not out yet. I put forward the single. I don't know if it got played or if it's... Anyway,
I think it did make the cut. Yeah, it was like one of the last ones played. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, cool.
From memory.
Because I don't watch the show. So I didn't
know.
Yeah. So, I remember speaking a bit about the song, which is about a nurse who tortured and killed her patients. Then I briefly mentioned a bit about the forthcoming concept album, which is about female serial killers in history, which I said was cool. And I decided to ignore the slightly horrified looks on all your faces about that. So I just want to make it clear, I do not think female serial killers are cool. I just think the idea of making it into a concept album is cool.
Yeah. Val, that was possibly the first time I'm glad that we're all streaming in separate places, because I thought the hatchet was actually going to come out and we'd all be fucking dead.
I know. I'm like, this is really cool. I'm looking at you and you're like, maybe they misunderstood my meaning there. But anyway, now I have explained I am a safe place.
Yes. We're all in our own safe place, so it's all right. Like...
Yes, you guys are a safe place too. I appreciate you. Yeah. So very cool concept, particularly if you're an all-female death metal band. It's just a marriage made in heaven, I think. So the album starts off with a really quite creepy synth-based intro track, fragmented, dissonant choral samples, some spooky sound effects. Only goes for about a minute, but it really sets the mood for the album by its just pure eeriness. It's called El Orfanto. Sorry if that pronunciation is bad, which translates to the orphanage. So there are no lyrics. It's just an instrumental. I'm actually quite curious to know if there was an untold story behind that track. Don't know if I'll find that out. Yeah. So from that, we launched straight into the next track, blast beats that kick it off, called Bloodbath. The girls do not hold back, either musically or lyrically, with this one. Based on the legend of Elizabeth Bathory, who was a high-ranking baroness in Hungary in the late 1500s, early 1600s, who was accused and charged with the torture and murder of hundreds of girls and women, from peasants to lower order gentry, over the course of about 20 years. This is the only song that vocalist Elizabeth Andrews tells the story in the first person, I think due to the extensive separation in time from then to now, and the somewhat enhanced and embellished, even questionably fictional in some cases, folklore aspect of Bathory. There are a lot of conflicting opinions, even amongst historians, about Bathory's crimes. Anyway, digressing a bit. The song is as brutal as its subject, but really well structured and thought out, so it doesn't get tiring. They came out firing, but they soon settle into a nice groove for the majority of the song, and they don't stick to the same pace or riff. They mix up the guitar and drumming pace as well. They do this a lot throughout the album. Guitar and drums sort of take turns in leading the song. They use alternating tempos quite a bit throughout the album, not just for each song, but within each song as well. For example, the next track on the album, Black Widow, after a small but rather grandiose symphonic few bars of melody, it melts into a slow and dreamy, kind of doomy intro, ghostly vocals or voices coming in and out of earshot. It's so creepy. I think the girls have really nailed atmosphere on this album, just all through. I think it would be a superb album, even just with guitars, drums, vocals, but just the synth and the effects that they've brought into it, they just enhance it. It's off the charts level, in my opinion. Anyway, like Bloodbath, the song kicks into an awesome death metal groove, drums and guitar again working together beautifully. The chorus even strays into black metal territory. I would love to talk about every song on this album in detail, but because each song truly has its own identity, not just the identity of the individual that they're singing about, but I mean musical identity and diversity. So call yourself a melodic death metal band, and to put out an album that, yes, is melodic death metal, but also so much more, is just one of the things I love about it. To be confident enough and talented enough to have a kind of no rules approach to your songwriting, I think is fucking awesome. And it just kept me interested, engaged from start to finish. I love that they stray into other genres other than their own, because they do it really well. So on this album, we're treated to black metal, doom, thrash, and even a 50-second grindcore track.
That was weird.
Gore Candy. Like, no way could I listen to an entire album of that style of music, but in the context of this album, I think it works really well. And that brings me to song placement. I can't think of a better track layout than this, what they've done. It's a journey. I'm sure that was the intention. So it's a journey into history, snippets via song into the lives of these women and their victims. The storytelling is superb. They aren't putting these killers on a pedestal, nor are they particularly condemning them. They are simply giving us a poetically annotated version of their lives and crimes, and through that, giving voice to the long-forgotten victims. I don't know the victims or anything about their lives, but through these songs, I feel like I'm remembering them.
Okay, cool.
Not sure if that was their intention, but that's just what I'm getting from it,
cool.
amongst lots of other things.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wouldn't even be able to sort of do that and understand all this, what these songs are about, if it wasn't for the vocal delivery. What is the point in telling these interesting stories if people can't understand what you're saying? Right, Dave?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
You would. I have not read a single lyric on this album, but I don't need to because I can understand her perfectly. Isn't that her range is fantastic? It's like her clean, almost operatic style vocal that we get in Hell's Bell, to kind of a pop style singing in Angel Maker, and then a kind of almost jazz vocal in the Garden of Bones. And there's also her range of harsh vocals, which goes up here, like the high kind of screams, to down really fucking low. I don't know how she gets down there. No doubt very hard to be able to do that. And all the while remaining perfectly intelligible and putting personality into the vocals and emphasis on certain words and phrases. Just another aspect of her vocals that I appreciate and admire. She's a beast.
Definitely.
So obviously I haven't seen them live, but I have seen footage and their performance-based videos. The whole band are obviously loving what they're doing, and Elizabeth is such a natural and charismatic front woman. Her stage persona is exactly what you want for a band like this, that being extremely terrifyingly awesome.
Nice.
So I know I've already talked a lot despite trying to keep it tight, but I can't end this review without acknowledging the other remaining founding member of the band, one being Elizabeth, and that is the guitarist Mio Yeager, who I believe is the main songwriter. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So her riffs are undoubtedly killer. The song structures are second to none. I love them. One thing in particular I love about their songs is their knack to use space for impact. There are musical pauses throughout this album that are just pure art. But mostly I want to talk about her solos. They are gorgeous. With this kind of music, it would be so easy to just shred and shred and shred. And, you know, that would be quite boring, I think. She can no doubt shred, but she doesn't. Instead, we are treated to soulful, melodic solos that I just think are a dream to listen to. She just feels her way up and down the fretboard in the most beautiful way. So, yeah, don't be surprised if one of these solos is in that category at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Love them.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, this feels like an afterthought, but 4 pages down, I need to shut the fuck up. But I still want to give a quick shout out to the bass player, me, as solid as fuck. I hear those runs, girl. Love your work. And the newest member, as of last year, is drummer Laura. I think what a find in her. She's a machine and quickly becoming my favorite drummer.
Wow.
I can't wait to hear more of her work on the next album. I know they've just released this one. I'm sure they've worked their asses off to release it, but anyway, so this album gets a 10 out of 10 from me.
Wow.
Holy shit. See the album in my top 10s easily.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Nicely done. Well done. Okay. Well, it's obviously impressed Belle. She picked it for a reason. Jeff, let's go to you next. How'd you go?
Yeah, I liked it. And I will touch on what Belle said. These guys have nailed atmosphere. They have found a way to amp up the atmosphere. I was very impressed with the sound. There's like a soundscape throughout here. And I was very impressed with the mood that they were setting. And I actually thought that the vocalist sounded a lot like Arch Enemy's Angela Gossow.
Okay,
very similar style vocal, I thought, anyway. And so, yeah, you can understand her. She's not completely illegible, but which you get a lot in some of these bands where they're it's just like what the fuck, man? Like so, but that's not the case here, which is good. They've got a really good sound. It's tight as fuck. I could use a little bit less blast beats on every type of album. Like I get it, but it's overused. I think it's something it's overused in a lot of bands like that. That's another reason. That's why I like Arch Enemy so much, because they have a similar happiness, but they don't use blast beats, which I enjoy. So, getting off on a tangent, that's just me. I think drumming is such an important part of bringing the power to a band. You don't have to keep doing the same thing all the time. So that's my only criticism. And it's not necessarily directed at them, because so many bands do it.
Yeah, everyone's fucking doing it now. That's why it gets so tedious and boring.
Yeah, I get it. I get that. So, like I said, I think it's just it's a mechanic that's overused. But having said that, I really thoroughly enjoyed this band. I thought that was very good find. I'm glad that I got a chance to hear them and enjoy the atmosphere that they brought into my moment when I was listening to this album. I was like, holy fuck, this is really good. It's not an album that you want to listen to with all the lights off in the dark. It's kind of that kind of album. So, so yeah, that says a lot. That's really good. That's when an album can enlist an emotion. So I'm going to give it 8 shots, because I think it's very well done for what it is. Yeah.
Cool. Good. All right, Dave, how'd you go?
Yeah, going back to that taping for the Women in Rock, when Belle first described this band, I'm like, this is creepy and weird. I want nothing to do with this. I do not want to meet these women. What the actual fuck? And didn't hear anything from them until they were on the Tastemakers playlist a few weeks ago, Hell's Bells. And that song is just unrelenting brutality for 3/4 of it, and then they kind of shift gears towards the end. And that was also the same Tastemakers with that disembodied tyrant shit. So I was in like, fuck this extreme shit. Yeah. I have nothing to do with this crap. But for some reason, that last little section, just kind of like this, it's shifting it up there, and like the whole concept of this band was kind of fascinating to me. Like watching a good horror movie, the people that act in it aren't psychos, but you're being convincing. It's like, okay, there's something fascinating about this band. So when it was released, I put it on and gave it a listen, and I'm glad I did. Right from the intro, you get into this atmosphere, as Belle said, and Jeff reiterated. But then the first song, when it first comes in, it's heavy, it's fast, it's unrelenting, it's brutal, it's everything you want from extreme metal, but there's space. They do these little stops, and that makes it interesting. It's a tiny little thing, but you're not just going full out. And by putting those spaces in, you're showing that you can pick back up on tempo, on time, and perform it. Because just going full out, it takes a skill, but that's all you're fucking doing. You're making it a lot more interesting to the listener, and probably making it a bit more challenging and impressive as a band. And that shit is impressive. That makes it so much better than a lot of this other extreme shit that's around today. Space and dynamics within the composition.
Yeah.
Once you're familiar with what's going on, they can pretty much throw anything at you. So within 2 or 3 songs, I'm like, okay, I'm fucking hooked. Okay, so I listen to the whole thing through. The vocals are coherent. Thank you. It makes listening to this so much more easy, because you've got so much going on musically. They're throwing these heavy concepts at you. What's the point of doing all this research into great songs and all this historical stuff if you're just going to be a fucking coward and not let your listener hear your words? So vocals are coherent. I love that. It's so good. There is one song where there's like this kind of pause in the music, and you just leaves this really harsh. I can feel the fucking pain in my throat just listening to it. It just goes on, and that's fucking brutal. But god damn, that's impressive. Because if she does that live and then just goes on to do the rest of the show, then she's really trained what she's doing.
Yeah, I think it's Angel Maker you're talking about right at the end. Yeah.
That was fucking cool. But within the context of the album, Hell's Bells actually works really fucking well, because you have all the other ups and downs leading into it. But that song in itself is not a good introduction to the band. It's pretty monotonous. It's pretty one-dimensional. But within the context of the album, it's actually an exciting part of the album. You need things before, you need things after. You can't just do the same shit over and over. There is more to them, and they're obviously capable of a lot more. I don't know if Andrew picked up on this, but the song after that, Angel Maker, as soon as that comes on, did you get a little feel of the Undertaker Ministry of Darkness intro thing?
Yeah, there's a bit of this sort of stuff going on in there.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
Yeah. I'm like, fuck, as soon as I make this association with something that I've liked for so long, like, shit, this is cool.
yeah.
Like, you get that, and it's like, fuck, I can't deny that this is hitting many different levels. And also, I like Cradle of Filth. I'm a big Cradle of Filth fan. If you like Cradle of Filth, then you're gonna like this band. It's as easy as that. They're not female version of Cradle of Filth. They got their own shit happening, but they're on the same levels of complexity and musicality and extremeness. And you can understand what Danny Filth is saying. They're brutal. You can understand what Elizabeth, I think you said her name was?
Elizabeth Andrews.
Elizabeth Andrews, she does a great job. It's pretty dark. It's not the happiest listen. I couldn't listen to this all day, every day. I would be really concerned of people who can. But I'm still not sure if I want to meet these women, but I've got a high level of respect, and this is a great album. So, yeah, even like I fucking struggle with this extreme shit at the best of times, but this is one that really is an exception to the rule. And like I said, if you like Cradle of Filth, you're guaranteed to like this. So I give this 9 shots. It's fucking great.
Wow.
Oh my god!
Impressive.
Whoa!
Nice. There you go.
Yeah.
You know, Dave, like you said, you'd be scared to meet these women. I've seen a couple of interviews with Elizabeth, and she's such a sweetheart. And she even said in a couple of them that doing the research into this stuff, like she's quite sensitive, and it just really disturbed her.
Wow.
Reading about this, she kind of had to stop for a bit and then, pick it up again and sort of train herself to be desensitized and removed from it. So, so I wouldn't worry about meeting her in a dark alley. I think you'll be safe.
I kind of get that. That's what kind of one. I couldn't put this band out of my head. And being a massive horror fan and liking people like Alice Cooper and Wednesday 13, they're just embracing a character. And because this made me so uncomfortable when I first heard about it, there has to be, they're doing it exceptionally well. Yeah. So, I'm glad you picked this. So you did a little bit more research. I know more about the band. So I hope the viewers are also picking up a lot of things when we check this shit out because, like I said, it's fucking great.
I did a quick scroll. There's some love coming in the comments. There's definitely some love coming in the comments. So it's doing the rounds. Awesome. For mine, quickly, there's no doubt that this leans into the heavy side of things. That's pretty established here. But what impressed me on this one was the depth and musicality underneath all of that. There's some great atmosphere here. I think it gets dark, it gets intense, as you guys have covered so well. But the clarity in the mix was pivotal here, and it makes you... It makes this whole thing feel almost epic at times, like those instrumental beginning and end of the album is a taste of that. But there's other moments within the album itself that have those epic expanses that just fucking really open up and give you those islands that Dave mentioned as well, that you want to take those breaths and then come back in and get pummeled again. But they give you those moments. All that said, when they want to hit, they fucking hit. Like, don't make any fucking bones about it. There's no shortage of bludgeoning moments on this album, but I also appreciated things like the swing, the groove, those little pauses and changes that stop it from being a one note or a one pace listen the whole way through. That's really important for this style of music for me as well as for Dave. I think for many people, actually, to be honest. The riffs are fucking huge on this one. The rhythms are fierce. There's also some genuinely beautiful lead work here, though. I did appreciate the solos here. And the well-timed slower sections in this one give it that space, like I said before, to breathe. The vocal approach is relentless. It's not really a clean singing album for the most part. There is that part of it, and there are some beautiful moments of that. But as a general rule, you're going to go to the aggressive side here. But that makes those rarer sort of choral or clean passages on this one really land when they do show up, because they really have that contrast for them. The use of keys and even the occasional sort of bit of piano, for example, adds an eerie cinematic layer I didn't expect going into this one. They did it exceptionally well. And lyrically, it's been covered off, but it's very interesting. I think the production, again, balances out so you can hear it, and it's got it works well for this style of music. I loved how it wasn't bombastic per se, but everything was so well balanced and clean and even. It was really clear. For me, one track that stood out in particular was The Garden of Bones. That shift in tone and the clean vocals, for me, gave the whole album a second wind right when it needed it as well. I think the way they put the track order that Bell mentioned, I thought that was well done across this one. Like most of us here, it's not an everyday spin for me either, but it left a definite impression on me. I enjoyed it a lot. I don't think it's a gateway record. I don't think it's one of those ones, but it's definitely it's more for fans of the style of music. But that said, it does a lot to really keep things fresh, especially in the second half of the album, which I appreciated that part of the album more than the first half, to be honest, because it really did grow and evolve as it went through things. That made it worth listening to. And I think this album also rewards you more on a headphone listen, for example, than it does just a casual listen in the background. You got to sit down with this one and really appreciate the work that's gone into it, because there is a lot of that. It does reward you for that focus. I enjoyed it a lot too. I gave it 8 shots for me, so definitely comes to Angel Maker and In the Garden of Bones, my standout tracks on this one in particular. But yeah, that was a cool one.
Yeah. In the Garden of Bones was actually when they sent the album off to the studio record company, I should say. They're like, give us another track, and so they kind of quickly put together that one. I think they had it already kind of written,
ready to go,
but they sort of added it on at the end. So
cool,
great. The solo in Angel Maker, fuck that guitar solo.
Yeah,
she's
good.
So good. Really melodic. Yeah. You don't get that a lot. Yeah, bands like this.
It's unexpected on an album like this. It's what really surprised me.
And unfortunately, in a lot of bands like this, you get stuck with like a guitar solo from Kerry King or something. For fuck's sake, get out of here. Not here.
Terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is great. This is great.
This is cool. Well, it is getting some love. Michael says, "Fuck yes, Frantic Amber, fantastic album, 9 shots, good choice, Bell." Sverage has gone good, pretty good, Frantic Amber. So there we go. Then we got We Are Satan's People for Wasp. But Sverage also said, sounds like very much like Arch Enemy, so that's where Jeff had his gateway there. But Adrian said, Frantic Angel is sick, dig the guitar riffs. Then we got Frantic Amber is sick again. Terry's here. Hi, everyone. Good to see you, Terry. Adrian also said, I'm digging the tunes people are recommending, which is nice. Cool. Adrian said, though, I didn't really pay attention to lyrics. I like the guitar riffs and the drums, which is cool. And Damon said, well said. That was so cool. Glad you enjoyed that part there. We are getting to the battle, so there's a good little setup here for a moment here, because Ferris gone deep. Perfect Strangers with Deep Purple can't be compared to Rammstein. Why that comparison? Both are good bands, but for me, Deep Purple feels closer and relatable. We'll get to that in a second, because that is the next part of it. But before we do move on to that, next week, Dave has already put his selection in, which is Ghost with Skeleta. That is coming up next week in this part of the show. Stay tuned, people. I know, Belle. I'm sorry. Or I'm not. I don't know. Take your pick. But I'm going to put some comments. I'm going to put some links in the description, and there's in the description, as always, in the comments now too. These are the reference tracks for the battle tonight, which is between Deep Purple, Perfect Strangers, and Rammstein with Untitled. So I'll put Deutschland from Rammstein and Perfect Strangers, the title track, in the comments for you to go and check out if you haven't already, because these are pretty well-known albums. We're going to do a bit of a format change. So because we've added the Border Buster part of the show in, we're going to change things up, because these battles we found in the past tend to go for a long time. So we're going to knock things down a bit and go, I'm going to give you a preamble, and then everyone gets to go your 5 reasons and why you're picking the album you're picking to win the battle for you tonight. So tonight is straightforward. This is round 4. This is seed number 3 versus seed number 6. The reason for these ones going head to head is because of the play count making the seeding way it works out. So it's just the way it works out. We have a randomized system that's not like it's a direct comparison. It tends to weed itself out as we go through the rounds. But tonight, like I said, Rammstein versus Deep Purple. In this battle of the comeback kings, we're looking at 2 albums that not only reignited careers, but reasserted their creators' place in the heavy music pantheon. For Deep Purple, Perfect Strangers is nothing short of historic. The first album from the classic Mark II lineup in over a decade. It wasn't just a return, it was a resurrection. With big riffs, bigger egos, and the weight of legacy behind it. This record proved the Purple Machine still had fire in its belly. There we go. On the other side of the coin, though, there is 2 bands in this one. Rammstein's Untitled album arrived after a decade-long studio silence. Expectations were sky high for this band, but the band, as always, delivered, reminding the world why their precision-tooled industrial assault had made them one of Europe's most iconic heavy exports. Packed with controversy, hooks, and theatrical fury, it was a defiant return to form. 2 bands, 2 eras, 2 comeback albums that mattered, and only one can go through. That said, we have 5 reasons why I don't pick a winner. Jeff, you picked Teflon. You picked Deep Purple. It is lower seed in tonight's battle. So, Jeff, your 5 reasons why and your choice, please.
All right, my 5 reasons, and then I'll let you guys decide where it's going to land. So 5 reasons, and really, really simple. You got melody, singing, guitar playing, drumming, and songwriting. That's it. That fucking simple, because the album that I'm picking really embodies all of excellence in all of those categories. Great songwriting, amazing guitar playing, fantastic drumming, great singing, and of course the melody that keeps everything going and makes it all into a song. I've said for many, many times, can you guess what album I'm talking about, folks? That album is a stalwart album for me. It's one of those albums that I go to and listen to. It's one of my favorite albums, and I think, considering that it was 9 years between albums, and the band had basically broken up. Of course, I'm talking about Deep Purple and Perfect Strangers. This album really is a comeback album, because they really there was actually no thought when they stopped making in 75 that Ian Gillan would be back, they'd be in their top form, and if they did come back, it would be like, just a bunch of old men groaning and just fucking putting in the effort to get a paycheck. No, these guys actually came back together and they produced what I consider, in my opinion, one of the greatest albums of all time, let alone comeback albums. It's just a fucking amazing album. I think it might just, as people say, Machine Head or maybe Fireball, but I think this is the jewel in the crown of their albums. I really do believe that. And so, Deep Purple, Perfect Strangers.
Okay. There we go. We have 1 down, 3 to go. Now, because I picked Rammstein, we go in the order of who picked the album, and then I go next because I chose it. So for me, my 5 points are as follows. They're both actually really good records. I'm not going to shit on anything here. Both very different, but there are aspects like how heavily they lean into things like having synth or keys as part of their sound. Those are about as close as it gets in crossover terms here. Entirely different eras, entirely different sound, but they're both well written, both well performed, and I think the mix serves both albums well. I think Deep Purple holds up nicely today. Both have great signature songs as well. So you've got Perfect Strangers obviously being the title track for Deep Purple, but I think the Deutschland, the opening track on Untitled, is one of the all-time greats from that band's catalog as far as I'm concerned. So that means it's what's around those signature songs that sort of matter more to me when it comes to this battle. So in my world, it came down to things like emotive weight. Both are great comeback albums, but one for me hits harder on the emotive side of things than the other. Where Deep Purple is definitely iconic. There's no denying its place in history. It's kind of what you expect when you sit there and listen to it. It's a slab of great classic rock. There's nothing wrong with it at all. But for me, Rammstein, on the flip side, it takes you on a more diverse and more interesting journey from beginning to end, as far as I'm concerned. I think it packs a really powerful punch emotionally. Not only that, but the physicality, the almost assault of this at times is fantastic. From beginning to end, I'm hooked on that album. I have been since it came out, and I can't let go. I did pick this album for a reason, so I'm going to continue with that trend, and I'm going to give my vote clearly to Rammstein tonight, which means I'm going to keep doing the rounds here. And Belle, I'm going to throw to you next to see which way you landed on this battle.
Okay. Perfect Strangers, it really does start off well. The opening track I think is the best one, and then good, and then good, and then wanes. And in the end, the initial excitement of being back together is gone, and I feel like they don't really know what to do with themselves, which culminates in the last track, which is just a jam session. And, you would say, well, what's wrong with that? But I don't think it's particularly an interesting jam session. Rammstein, however, seem to be at the peak of their creativity, exploring new ways to interpret their signature sound. Till's vocals on Untitled are possibly the best they've ever been. Emotive, interesting. He's telling me a story through his delivery, because I can't understand a fucking word he's saying, but I'm getting what he's saying. However, Gillan being one of the best. His performance on this album I thought was lackluster, even bordering on annoying at times.
Wow. But someone has the album on vinyl too. Wow.
Yeah, I know, but it's like it's not horrible.
I agree.
It's not. It's just not. If I'm going to pick a Deep Purple album to put on, it's not that one really.
Okay.
So, sorry, Jeff. Yeah. Look at when I was tallying up the votes, I see comments. Like it's usually just one or the other, but some people put in comments. I think it was Michael C that said some people say that this was just a Mark II cash grab, but he didn't agree. He said he thinks it's because of the music. 100% agree. I think they did get back together to create music again. Because they love doing it. It's just too bad the music wasn't all that good when they were doing it. It's just my opinion.
It's the game.
Anyways, so if someone said to me, you're never allowed to listen to Perfect Strangers again, I don't think I would give a shit. Whereas if someone said you can never listen to Rammstein's Untitled again, I would be fucking sad about that. So
okay, good way to put it.
Vote.
Yeah. I like that. I haven't even thought of it that way. That's a cool way to look at it, actually.
Yeah, if you're ever stuck, just go with that.
Okay. Nice.
Not that I was stuck, mind you, but yeah.
Oh, good. All righty. Dave, you get the final vote.
All right. This doesn't happen very often. Don't go back and do the deciding thing. I have not heard either of these albums until this week. For some reason, I never got to the Deep Purple one. I know the song Perfect Strangers because Dream Theater covered it. And I'll say it right now, Dream Theater's cover is much, much better than the original. Just me.
Yes, crying on the
even okay, I'll piss people off. Even James LeBray's vocals are better.
Ooh.
I haven't heard it, and I agree with you.
Version,
just kidding.
Everything about the Dream Theater version is better. So this was kind of interesting, I like some Rammstein. Like I like the Mutter album, but Du Hast, I can't listen to that. So I'm going into this completely fresh territory. It's a bizarre matchup.
Yeah.
But Rammstein was a fun listen from start to finish. Probably the best album I've heard from them. So I'll go straight with that. Deep Purple starts out really, really cool. It's just like, this is the sound. They got the sound back. But no way I would listen to this over Machine Head or In Rock. No way. Probably not even Stormbringer. That it's like 70s, much better. There was a song towards the end of this, I think it's Hungry Days, where they just it sounds fucking lazy in terms of lyrics. He mentions we all went out to Montreal, and it's like the whole. I think that's the concept of the song. And it's like I've heard this. It's fucking lazy songwriting. And Megadeth have a song like that at the end of Euthanasia, Victory, where he references old songs. I hate songs like that. It's like a quick filler. It's just fucking lazy songwriting. And Bell says it gets really boring with the last song. It's just a jam session. Rammstein album was fun from start to finish, so I'm going Rammstein.
Wow. Here we go. I wasn't sure which way that'd go, to be honest. I really wasn't sure. So it's an interesting one there. So sorry, Jeff, your pick doesn't go through. It goes.
No, that's okay.
Gets consigned.
I will keep listening to it. That's
you
fine.
Do that. That's the point.
That's it. It's not going to make a self-destruct.
No, that's it. It's still going to be there. Like, this is a fun game. I know people are going to get fucking angry at this, but oh well. It's a fun game, people. It's a fun game.
Yeah,
thank you much. Excuse me.
That said, it's funny because the comments we've made here, the voting we've made here, kind of mirrors what the audience have gone with as well. Believe it or not. Deep Purple had a late run, so Bella, even after you sent me through the results you had, there was a couple of comments in Discord that I picked up on and on something else, but they were after you put through the results, so don't stress. But I did even incorporating those ones. There was a late rush for Deep Purple, but it still wasn't enough. Didn't change a thing. Rammstein still won, even with the late rush, with 60% of the vote, to be honest, over the two albums, which is an interesting. And considering how many views that particular had on YouTube as well, that one went pretty far on YouTube as a short video, that poll. And so that went pretty far and wide, and plenty of people watched it. So for all that said and done, we are on track with the audience, which makes this one really interesting. So we've finally gone back to being more on track with the audience, which is cool, which means that Rammstein goes through, and we'll see who they face as we get to the final week as things progress. That does mean that next week, though, it changes things up, because for us, we have HZed Back in Black. That's the same for the audience. That album is the next week's one there. For us, though, it goes up against Doth the Deceivers. For the audience, it goes up against Anthrax Worship Music. So that'll be an interesting little poll there to see which one comes through in the end, but I'm looking forward to that battle next week. I know this is a wild battle. Some of these things throw up wild combinations, but that's part of the fun, because we poll the audience, and then we go, okay, let's choose from the list they give us, and this is what we did. What do we got here? Adrian says Blackmore's riff master and the vocals are great. Guru says Perfect Strangers, like Animal Like Us. Michael says Purple toured that album here, and people got to see the classic lineup for many the first time, which added to the excitement as well, which I understand the historical context of it. Damon says Janie Lane and David Mustaine wrote a song together. What was it called? I have no idea. Dave, would you know that one off the top of your head? I don't know. Damon,
Wow.
if that's legit, then let us know, because I don't think any of us fucking know.
Cherry Wars.
Cherry Wars. Yeah,
Cherry Wars. Bell, if that wasn't a song, it should be now. I want to hear Dave McClintock.
I want it. Yeah, someone AI that shit.
Yeah. That'd be fucking wild. Alrighty. We are at the end. Quick thing here. Check out our TV broadcast. I've always been referenced in tonight's broadcast, 10:30 p.m. Saturday night on Channel 31 in Melbourne, except for this weekend because of the election coverage. There's not going to be an episode on Channel 31 this week, but we are on every Thursday in Channel 44 in Adelaide as well, same time, 10:30 p.m. local time there. Next week is another big show. We have all the usual stuff here, the Hard Rock Happenings, Hot Rocks, all this stuff. So if you want to get involved in this stuff, links in the description box. Join us on Patreon to just get involved in the voting and nomination side of things. We want more people there, so just jump in. It also helps us to get more done behind the scenes. But that's all there. But the backyard banger is Lumen's self-titled. Bell, that is your assignment. Fretboard Feud is the 85 collection. We're going to go to March. I'm going to do the game next week. That's my assignment. And Dave has chosen the Border Buster to be Ghost with Skeleta. That is what is coming up. And then the battle, like I said just before, we're looking forward to that one too, Dave. I'm looking forward to that review. AC/DC Back in Black versus either Doth for us with the Deceivers, or for the audience, Anthrax Worship Music. We do keep different trees going. We'll see which one comes out on top in the end. Which brings us to the fun part here. Damon's gone, haha, laughing. Cheers, so good. You're welcome. And great show from Adrian there. One last formality to get through before we get out of here tonight, though, folks, is to raise a glass. So, Jeff, what are you raising a glass to this week? What's made you smile?
You know,
Bill,
I had something. I did that again. I do it again. Fuck. Jesus, I gotta learn to write this shit down.
Write shit down? Yeah.
I know. I know.
You've forgotten.
Yeah, I did.
At least you'd have something.
Go to someone else. I'll come back.
All right, Dave, do you have anything?
Yeah, I got 3 actually.
Cool, beautiful.
Everyone's
Can I have one?
Gives me tea. Can I have one? Can
Okay.
I buy a vowel?
Firstly, I am raising a glass to Ghost and Wednesday 13 for releasing 2 fantastic fucking albums last Friday. My God, I am happy.
Nice.
And they are so contrasting that if I was going too far in the one frame of mind, I had to go to the other. It was praise. 2 sides of me. Love it. Thank you to both of us.
Beautiful. Good to hear. There you go.
Number 2.
Yep.
Musicland in Faulkner. My first time there on the weekend.
Good
fucking
venue.
Great venue. Awesome stage. It's massive. Sounds amazing. Friendly staff. There is a shop there where you can buy guitars, t-shirts, patches. There's a restaurant out the front. And best of all, it is all ages. So you can bring your kids. Yep. There are so many little kids out there that want to go and see rock shows but can't because of stupid liquor licensing. But I went there. The first thing I did was buy alcohol and soft drink for the kids.
Yep.
So there's no reason why other fucking venues can't do this. I don't understand these liquor licensing things. But thank you to Musicland for providing an amazing fucking venue. Love venue. It. You're near there or you want to take an 1.5-hour drive to get there, it's well worth it.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
And thirdly, my reason for being there, to the amazingly talented band that we know as Sisters Doll. Fuck me, every time I see this band, they get better and better. Amazing stage show, amazing songs, great guys. I tried to count how many times I've seen this band. I ended up counting venues. I've seen them at least 10 times because I can name 10 venues that I've seen them in.
Wow.
I've seen them multiple times at those venues. So it have to be at least 15 times.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
fuck me, they literally get better and better. If you haven't seen them, unfuck that.
Do it.
And if you
Yeah,
have seen them,
totally.
go and see them again because fuck.
I want to. I
Fantastic
definitely
band.
want to. Yep.
Mhm.
Cheers, good band.
Cheers to that, man. Great stuff. All right, guys, you've had your thinking music. Who wants to go, Belle or Jeff?
I'm fucked. I can't.
All right, Belle, you got me?
I'm sorry. I need to. I've got I just reused last week's kind of notes thing, and I've got to put at the end. Raise a glass.
Raise a glass.
Yep.
Fucking prompt
That's
me.
on my notes every week. I've got two.
Yeah. So I'll do that. But
I
this
never
week, on the fly, I would like to raise a glass to whoever invented pizza because it's fucking
great.
delicious.
Yep.
I had it for dinner.
Nice.
I made my own. I make my own, and
Yep.
pizza
You
rocks.
put pineapple on your pizza?
Pizza.
Of course.
It goes so good with this stuff.
It does.
Can I just say then, if you like pizza and you like Hawaiian pizza, do you know where that was invented?
Not Hawaii.
Yeah, it wasn't why.
Canada.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
shit.
Google
Wow.
it. Google it. Not far from where I lived.
Wow. There you go.
What?
Now, I just picture a bunch of Italians singing Blame Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this time you could blame Canada. You know, I personally
fantastic.
fucking hate Hawaiian pizza, but it's Canadian.
Yeah. Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
Thank you,
I know
Canada.
pizza.
Raise a glass to
Isn't
Canada.
it?
Hawaiian
Cool.
pizza.
I don't like sweet things on my savory food.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
fair
can't
enough.
do it.
Oh, I
Like
love
it-
the contrast.
Yeah.
I don't like
Like-
salt and caramel.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I
but
suppose
it's
Dave
that's
hates
shit.
that. That's been a thing for years.
I like
somebody-
bacon and maple syrup. I don't eat bacon, but I used to, and fuck, that was a good combo.
That's a good combo.
Somebody made years ago. Someone made a pizza. Basically, it was like all the savory toppings and stuff, and the sauce instead of tomato sauce, it was like strawberry jam with cheese. And fuck yeah!
Fuck that.
Oh no!
I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
gross.
that's too far.
Why would you do
Yeah.
that?
Well, because
Yeah.
you
Oh my
get the
God,
salty,
we're getting into the
you
finer
get the
points of
sweet.
pizza making here, folks.
Nah,
I know,
Fuck that.
I know. Like who these people are
Wild.
fucking- somebody
Yeah,
they
no,
were
don't-
on. They
I'm
had
not
to be
raising
on
a glass
shrooms
to
or
that. I'm
something
sorry.
to do that.
I'm not.
Because there's
Yeah.
no way you'd come up with that.
Nah.
No.
Yeah.
Jeff?
No,
Have you got anything?
I'm reaching, man. I seriously, I had something. I swear,
Oh, fuck.
and I will think of it after. I know I'll think of it.
Oh,
after.
I know you will.
So I'll just toast a glass to you and all the listeners.
That's all right. It's a good catch. All get out of jail free card. There you go.
Have a drink. Have a
Always
drink
raise a
on me.
glass. All right. Actually, it's funny because a lot of these have dovetailed into mine. So, I got three things here. One is we fired up our pizza oven on the property for the first time last weekend. So, fucking
Nice.
raise a glass. That good success. First go out. That
Run
was a
along.
win. Yeah. Second, this is the sentimental one here. Sentimental gifts are much better than anything really awesome. I got my first fucking mug from the kids with the
good.
being popped for the grandchild this year, so that's fucking awesome. So I thank again my daughter for that one, which is fantastic to get that through for a birthday present, which is great. But then my last one, so sentimental gifts. My last one though is also the Hard Rock Show turned 14 this past week. So raising a glass to the Hard Rock Show to all the people that have been involved in any way. So whether you're on the show from the beginning, here today, have been involved behind the scenes, or were just casually watched one episode, or you've seen everything we've ever done. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful journey so far. We're a long way from done, but this has been fun, and I look forward to many more years to come. But this has been glorious. I just want to raise a glass to Hard Rock Show and everyone that's put the work in, but also those that have joined us for the journey along the way, no matter how long or short. Here's to everyone. Happy birthday to the Hard Rock Show. 14 years. There we go.
Happy birthday.
14. We're old enough to drink.
I know,
You did
right?
not hear
Almost
that,
old enough
Jade.
to have kids. Like,
You didn't hear that either.
Oh, don't worry, I started earlier than that. All right, so let's go to the comments here. Michael said Belle is out on probation for picking Frantic Amber this week. There we go. Man Family said it was always a great night. Ashida's creation, good to see you. Hi guys, I'm a new sub.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed the show tonight.
Awesome.
Speaking of people joining us, that's
Thank
a
you.
great time to start up. So thanks for jumping in and saying hi. I appreciate it. Damon says, I'm your turbo lover. I'm not sure if that's to the song or what, because Conrad's still
What
asking
was
about
that?
the collaboration.
He must love Dave.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, Vinny says, raising a glass to this year's federal erection. Oh, God, I wonder who will pull off the win. Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Vinny.
Vinny, we never got your WASP
guy
acronym, Vinny.
Ooh. Nate,
Yes.
good to see you. Nate Will's jumped in here. He's gone raising a glass to Asa Mercury for announcing something on their socials. Come back with a question mark. I did wonder about that. Someone made a comment for the last few weeks teasing an Adelaide band making a return, so I have to go and check that out now because Asa Mercury, if they're back, that's going to be fucking great. They're a fantastic band. Damon says, Jason reminds me of an old guitarist, total legend. He's like the missing guitarist from Jezebel Climate. Okay, I'm not sure where that's going, but all right. Vinny says, Dudden eats Mars bars upside down to feel the veins on the surface of his tongue. Wow, Vinny, that is oddly descriptive. Right. Well, Michael said, have to email Frantic Amber and alert them to the story of the Tassie Hatchet who murdered so many bands. So there we go. There's Michael giving some off the bell for that one.
Thanks, Michael.
Damon says, a pizza isn't a pizza without a mayhem eyeball. There we go. Adrian's gone, cheers. And Vinny's gone, happy birthday, THRS. Here's another 14 years. We'll all be gummy and incontinent by then, as opposed to now. But yeah, that's where we are.
Andrew's a Collingwood supporter. I'm surprised he's got teeth.
I know, so am I. So there you have it. And Dave hates sports, so there you go.
Yeah, I do.
All righty. That's about it. Thank you all so much for joining us for another fun show. A big thank you to Dave on the other side of the screen to me here. Thank you so much again for your contribution and also for all your work over the years. The second longest person on the show aside from myself. So thank you so very, very much. The only person that's done more hours than you is Jody behind the scenes. So you're a gun, you're a legend, and I love everything you've done over the years. That doesn't diminish my love for Jeff and to Belle on the other side of the screen. So Belle opposite corner, Jeff underneath. Both, I love both you guys to death as well. I love everything you've done since you've jumped on board as well. It's been a fantastic way to grow and see things move and shift and change. So we've always adapted over the years. Dave knows this better than anyone else how much we've changed over the years. But each time we do, it seems to be onwards and upwards. And it's been a positive thing to see you guys come in and watch you guys sort of blossom into this whole mayhem that is what we do here at the show. So thank you both for your contributions. So to Belle, to Jeff, to Dave, thank you all so much. To all of you watching out there at home, thank you again. And Jody behind the scenes, who is always here in every single way. Big thank you to Jody as well.
Thanks, Jody.
Damon's giving us a whole lot of smiley face. I'm not sure what's going on there, but that's enough. We're going to get out of here. Thank you all so much. Back again, same time and place next week. Until then, I'm Andrew, folks, and you all know what to do. As always, drink. Up, rock on.
Cheers.